Another year and another Assassin's Creed. Today on this episode of What You Need to Know, we're taking a look at the newest release in the series, Odyssey. For the majority of its life cycle, the Assassin's Creed series has been annualised, but fatigue was beginning to set in, and therefore after the launch of Syndicate, Ubisoft decided to take an additional year off to reinvent the series, and so they did, with 2017's Assassin's Creed Origins being a resounding success, bringing with it many welcome and needed changes. On the surface, Odyssey may look like it's playing it very safe, taking all that Origins brought to the table just with a new assassin and setting. To some extent this is true, its combat mechanics are the same, its UI is very similar, and it uses the same RPG and looting system, but it does bring in a lot of new additions that make it more than just a copy and paste sequel. First of all, let's talk about the setting. Whereas Origins was set in Egypt, Odyssey is set 400 years prior in ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War between Sparta and Athens. For the first time in the series' history, you'll have the choice between a male or female protagonist, Alexios or Cassandra. Regardless of who you pick, they'll both have the identical story and gameplay options, but for those of you that have wanted the freedom to decide and not be shoehorned in as one gender or the other, well, you should be pretty happy. Speaking of the story, although your character choice won't directly affect it, you yourself will be able to alter how it plays out, as there will now be dialogue options to pick from, kind of in the same way as games like Fallout, Mass Effect or The Witcher. These decisions can have both short-term or long-term effects, with some drastically shifting the story, giving you a completely different ending. In addition, some of these decisions can lead on to romance options, with both Alexios or Cassandra being able to romance the same NPCs, so you won't be limited to a traditional man and woman relationship if you don't want to. Romances won't ultimately have any real impact on the overall plot, but it's a great example of some of the new optional content on offer. In terms of the modern day segments, it will follow the same character as in Origins, Layla Hassan, and we can likely expect those gameplay sections to be more or less the same. However, for those of you like myself who love the more in-depth present day story of the earlier AC titles, you may be disappointed, but it probably comes as not all that much of a surprise as they've dedicated less and less to the present day side of things over time. Moving on to the combat, the Dark Souls-esque hitbox system returns and has been further refined with bouts now quicker and more aggressive. In terms of the weaponry, you'll have over 100 different ones to utilise across 9 different categories, but you will have one new important signature weapon that replaces a hidden blade, a First Civilization spear that's passed on to you as a descendant of the great Spartan king Leonidas. Being a First Civilization weapon, it bears great power, bestowing upon the main character not only strength, but supernatural abilities. In a rather bemusing move, the introduction of shields in Origins seem to have been removed, however parrying and dodging have been made more effective in order to keep the game balanced and give you a fighting chance of taking down those tough enemies. In regards to your gear, each piece now has individual slots with their own stat value attached to them, giving you that extra bit of customization and control in how your warrior looks. One aspect I haven't mentioned yet is the special abilities you can unlock and use. As with Origins, you have a skill tree to work through, although each tree is separate this time around and doesn't connect together. Unlocking any ability from these paths can then be mapped to a button combo with at least 8 available at one time, some helpful for dealing damage from a range, while others helpful for creating distance between you and your enemies, such as the infamous Spartan kick from the movie 300. All of these techniques will be of great use to you not just in normal one-to-one combat, but during some of the large-scale battles that make their introduction, pitting you in a raging war of 150 versus 150, a scale we really haven't seen before in the series that should look pretty impressive. Lastly, if you played 2013's Black Flag, you may remember one of the most enjoyable aspects of the title being the ship exploration, and it returns in Odyssey, giving you the Aegean Sea to sail across. Like in Black Flag, you'll be able to build a crew, engage in battles, board other ships, upgrade your vessel, and of course listen to some surprisingly addictive sea shanties. One feature that certainly wasn't in Black Flag or Rogue, however, is the ability to recruit special lieutenants to man your ship, and these can be acquired by doing various different types of missions, although they might not always join your calls despite your best efforts. You can pick up Odyssey next month on October 5th for the usual platforms, PS4, Xbox One and PC. Like the last game, there will be enhancements for both the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, as well as HDR support, which this time will be there from release. Do you think Odyssey has differentiated itself enough to warrant a purchase, and are you pleased with the integration of even more RPG elements? Let me know down in the comments. Before I round off this video, it is worth noting for those concerned that Ubisoft are back on an annualised release schedule, it has been confirmed that there will be no new game next year, which in my eyes is a good thing, as it shows they are conscious of not over-milking the series again. That's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe and hit that bell icon to receive notifications when future videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.